the food we get here is of value. We are in a better condition now, today, because of the food that we get here. So we thank the people, the mothers, our mothers and sisters who work here, who have to put up with hungry people. Since hungry people sometimes, I know it from myself, we become sometimes irrational because of hunger. I am Zamile. I was born in Nyanga, and now I am 67 years old. Yeah, I became aware of myself before I went to school, that I was a person, and I was in Queenstown. Sorry. I try a lot now. No, I will talk now. I will talk now. I started school in Crawford. I did sub-A and sub-B there, and then Crawford was designated by the government as a colored area, and the few Africans who were still there at that time were being moved out to the townships like Kukuletu and Nyanga. And we had 2 teachers, and ultimately we ended only with 1 teacher. It was a woman, and she had to teach from sub-A to standard 6. So she would start with us, and then after she was finished with us, would sit in the same room with other learners who were older than us. Yeah. And then from 1972, I think that was in 1971, then I passed my standard 6 and went to do my high school, first at Fezeka High School in Kukuletu. And then after that, I went to Tulanga High School. Because I went to Tulanga High because I wanted to our school didn't offer, Fezeka didn't offer physical science and maths. And people were saying, if you do physical science and maths, you'll have more opportunities, you know. So that's why I went to Tulanga High. Matric, I struggled, and from matric onwards, I struggled with schooling and education. Because in high school, we studied under Bantu Education. There would be no standards. We would start with Form 1 and then went to Langa High to do matric. After that, because there was an uprising in 1976, which disrupted our schooling. So at the beginning of 1977, it seemed as if there would still be no schooling. I was not sure that we would get educated. So I traveled by train for the first time to the former Transkei, up till Mthatha. I lived there the whole of 1977. I repeated my Form 5. And it helped me a lot. I realized that when I returned to Kukuletu, where I was living, after about 18 months, how it helped me. I suddenly saw Kukuletu like for the first time, you know, and realized that it was really a dirty place, you know, a place full of problems, yeah, which I didn't see before, which I didn't see or realized. So I continued at Kukuletu. I lived there. And then I went to Fort Hare. I went to Fort Hare to do, because I wanted to I wanted to be a doctor. So I did Bachelor of Science at Fort Hare. But after 2 years, I couldn't continue any further. I just passed. I failed the first year. I passed only 2 courses. The following year, I passed only 1. And I decided it was enough, so I dropped out. There was a woman called Dorothy Clemenshaw, Dot Clemenshaw. And she was the one who would organize money for me. And then I said I didn't know what to do. So my mother was working at Groote Hospital, and then she managed to get me work at the UCT Medical School. I worked there for about 4 years. Yeah. And then I went to UCT to study, to do BSc again. Then I dropped out also after 2 years. I just don't know what happened with my life, but I seemed to be struggling. Maybe I was not applying myself enough. And my peers, they taught me about love making and sex and all these things, which I didn't seem to know about. Things I didn't seem to know about. They taught me. They even encouraged me to get a girlfriend. And in the end, I did have a girlfriend because I joined a youth club. I saw this girl. She also attended this youth club. And after the meetings, then would accompany the girls home because we were the boys. And then I told her that I love her. And one of those walks. But I really loved her because it was my first love affair. And it was something new for me. She also went to a boarding school. She left me at Guguletu and went to the boarding school. And then I missed her terribly. And I couldn't have another girlfriend. And then when she returned for her school holidays, she told me she was not interested in me anymore. And then it was the first time that I experienced depression. I didn't know that I had depression, but when I look back today, I realized that I did have depression. And after that, but that relationship is outstanding. I will never forget. So I went on to train as a teacher. I was working at that time as a trade union organizer. In the end, at that time when my children were born, I was already working. From around 1990, I had started to work Transport and General Workers Union Aid Service. But before I did that, I was a volunteer. I had been volunteering as a translator-interpreter for an advice office. After I had worked, then I went to do a teacher's diploma at UWC. At 50 years, I was 50 years old then. And I would have been the oldest or amongst the oldest in the class. I was still younger than the lecturers. Or maybe the same age, I don't know, I can't remember. I did teach a few times. I could not get a permanent position because the principals didn't like me. Look, it is a pattern. And for me, it's not surprising, because I think differently to most people, compared to most people. It's not that I seek to antagonize people, because I know myself very well, that yes, I never despair. I always have hope, because that is the only way I think I can live positively. And at the moment, I smoke dagga.